Welcome back to another Sahak's aviation video. Today we will learn why airplanes dump jet fuel. When flying in an airplane, the last thing you expect is for fuel to be dumped right out of the plane's wings. However, for a number of flights each year, this is exactly what happens. Fuel dumping usually occurs when an aircraft needs to land urgently. There may be a mechanical problem or a medical emergency. Nonetheless, the airplane must land, but this can be a problem when a plane has too much fuel and is too heavy. Let's make an imaginary flight from Los Angeles' LAX airport to New York's JFK airport. But then halfway through our flight, one of our engines fails and catches on fire. Our plane must land at the nearest airport, so we head towards Chicago's ORD airport. 1 liter of jet fuel weighs 0.8 kilograms, and our plane was filled up to fly non-stop to JFK, so we have a lot of fuel left over. This means our plane weighs much more than it should, and this can cause problems. When an airplane is getting ready to land, there are 3 distances that must be measured. The first landing distance is, the length of the runway. This is known as the landing distance available, and any plane that lands on this runway must need less than this distance to come to a safe stop. The second landing distance is the landing distance required. This is the distance required to stop the plane. And the final landing distance is the safety factor. This is a distance added to the landing distance required, so if anything goes wrong, the plane can still come to a safe stop. These last 2 distances must not exceed the landing distance available. But if our plane is heavier from all the extra fuel, then it needs more distance to stop. In some cases, if the runway is not long enough, the landing distance required will exceed the length of the runway. This can cause 2 very different but no less horrible things to happen. If the pilot tries to stop the plane and brakes harder than usual, the landing gear may catch on fire. If the pilot uses normal braking power, then the plane will slide off the runway. But wait, isn't dumping tons of fuel into the atmosphere very bad for the environment? It actually is not. The jet fuel would have been used by the engines and come out of the plane anyways, so fuel dumping is not worse for the environment than just flying. However, because fuel comes out of the wings in liquid form, airplane manufacturers recommend for fuel to be dumped 1,500 meters above the ground in order for the fuel to have time to turn into vapor. If it is dumped lower than that, then it is not impossible for it to start raining jet fuel. But don't worry, airplanes usually dump fuel even higher than that, so don't bring your umbrella out every time you see an airplane in flight. Okay, great, now we know why airplanes dump fuel, but how do they do it? As you might already know, an airplane's fuel is stored in its wings. This is why small nozzles are placed at the ends of the wings. Inside these nozzles there are small electric motors that take fuel from the wing and spray it out of these nozzles. They work by taking a lot of fuel from the wings from different intakes and spray it out of the nozzles at very high pressure. This allows the aircraft to dump roughly 1 ton of fuel per minute. Thanks to this ingenious idea, airplanes can now land without ever having to worry about having too much fuel. If you liked this video or learned something new today, then consider subscribing to our channel and leaving a like on this video.